this is a bit of an historic moment, so I thought it's a good idea to document this. Monday, April, I don't know, 2025, and right now there's about between 40 and 50 million people with no power in this part of the world. And we have power because we're off the grid here, but this just goes to show, I mean, this for me is kind of like, yeah, this is, people sometimes ask me, why off the grid? Because it comes down to, I really don't trust the grid. My guys here are working, but they're worried that their chest freezers could thaw. That's their worry, right? And there's, of course, many other things that could be wrong with no power. Imagine the cities and the traffic lights and that kind of thing, right? In the village here, yeah, life doesn't change very much, not right away. And hopefully power will be restored soon. But with such a wide area of the grid goes down, it takes a long time to restore, because it has to be, the grid has to be separated, has to be disconnected in areas. You can't just bring the grid online at once. The generating entities would explode. You just can't. So anyway, this is just to document this, the great blackout, the great European blackout of 2025. And it's not a laughing matter, but it's probably a case of massive incompetence, because I imagine that there is a lot of very high paid people that fail to think that this is possible, and so they create a grid that can go down across such vast territory. We're talking like 35 million in people in Spain, 10 million here in Portugal. I hear a little bit of France, a little bit of Belgium. You know, do the math, right? I'm talking over 45 million, maybe 50 million people with no power. So how is that possible? How is that such a large grid can go down at once? It just doesn't make any sense. To me, it's a matter of bad design. It's easy to elaborate on this, but yeah, it just comes down to bad design, bad management. People that are supposed to know what they're doing really don't. So incompetence, what can you say? Anyway, it's documented. It's for the future. The last big blackout was in 2006. I think it lasted 2 hours, and it did not affect 40, 45, or 50 million people. So, yeah. That's why I don't trust the grid. You know, having said that, I have to say that it doesn't give me any pleasure that I have power and nobody else does. Makes me quite sad, actually, and worried at the same time. Because I'll only be safe if my community is in a good place. If they're struggling because they have no power, because they can't go to work, eventually it'll go back to me. It don't matter how much food I have stored in my freezer with my off-grid power system. I could have 3-meter high walls with another 2-meter barbed wire. Eventually, I wouldn't be safe. So it's important that people around us are in a good place. Isolating ourselves is really not the solution. Perhaps I should elaborate on something I said about the grid, how it works. I don't mean to teach anything to anybody. I've already done a lot of training and teaching in my past life. I actually like doing it, but that's not what this channel is about. If I can motivate people doing what I do, so that they can pursue a dream, that'd be fantastic. So that they can seek to learn a new trade, a new art, new skill. Great, that's awesome. I love to hear back from people about that. But I'll say something about the grid because I know in regards to how the grid works. A big grid, when it goes down, takes a long time to reconnect because of something called the startup current or spike current, which is the electricity flow that happens when you first start an appliance or any kind of load, really. So imagine you turn on your lights and your bulb says that it uses 60 watts. When you first start it or you first turn it on, it's not 60 watts. It's more like 120 watts for a little time only. But now imagine when you multiply that by a gazillion times, right? Which is what happens in the grid. When the grid goes down, all these things are on. Your house is on, your fridge is still on, maybe your lights are still on, your computer is on, lots of things are on. So when the power comes back on, all those things immediately are gonna start working. So the startup current is enormous. It's let's just say, if the grid was still all connected and the power was put back on, whatever's generating the electricity, whether it's windmills, solar panels, nuclear power stations, hydro stations, anything, it would just essentially, it would be a massive short circuit. It would just blow up the whole grid. So what they do is they disconnect sections of the grid. Let's say Lisbon will be disconnected, Porto, Madrid, different cities are disconnected, and then as the power comes on, they'll connect the grids, those areas to the grid incrementally, so that the current flow doesn't spike too much. That's all I wanted to say. This is my educational bit for today. It's called startup current or spike currents. And I did learn that in, I think, grade 10, while I was still here, a kid in high school in Portugal. I still remember that from back those days. But yeah, that's how the grid functions. So it's tricky to bring it back online, especially a big grid like this that supplies 50 million people, from what I gather, which, yeah, again, it's just a bad idea. I hope some heads will roll from this, but I have a feeling that some foreign agents will be blamed for it. That's just my feeling. Always is. Oh, it's a gremlin somewhere. Hey, Salazar, what's up? Quer fazer? Do you know that we still have a blackout going on? See those fancy wind generators not working? You ever wonder why they're not working if we have a blackout? Yeah. Well, the citrus trees are blossoming right now. Orange trees and lemon trees are in bloom, and the scent in the air is just wow. It's amazing. Yeah, it's painstaking, slow work. Um, they're not big stones. This is a pretty small stone. I was building a lintel here. We're gonna leave a little window here because I have a pipe connection in here that you never know if it'll need service. So the stone that goes in the space will be dry, so it can be removed. But yeah, with a bit of luck, he'll be almost done today, if not done. It's hard to find the right stones that don't need a lot of work, but yeah. Guys are just arriving soon. Como é que é? Hoje não temos tratorista de manhã?
Pica.
Você está a fazer os cunhais, né?
Agora vou fazer o cunhal e vou pegar as pedras todas, na altura depois.
Vai.
Vou fazer o cunhal para aqui.
Exato.
Você
vai fazer a um ou vai estar a fazer a dois?
Não, agora vou fazer quando fazer.
Oh, did you hear the cuckoo? The cuckoo, listen. You hear him? Queres levantar? Queres levantar? Já baixou um bocadinho. Já, tá. Vamos ao tacho. It looks like we're gonna have a pretty rainy afternoon, so the guys are staying home. Yeah, so I might as well make the door for the water cabinet. And I think I'm gonna make a trip to the ironworker shop where I'm hoping I can buy some metal for a couple of projects. I'm building a metal structure for the future outhouse, but I also want to buy some metal to reinforce the frame for the tent. I know a lot of people have been asking about the tent, even asking if I abandoned the tent project, but I didn't. I love the tent. I need to move out of the outbuilding, and so what happened is last year, a few months ago in the fall, we had a storm. It was a lot of wind. It was very windy, and it made me think that the instructions to build the frame and the pad for the tent weren't really that good. I feel like I need to reinforce that. And I know that you'll understand later when it's built, but I felt as if I had the tent built the way the manufacturer of the tent suggested, that it was a good chance that the tent would have blown away with the structure attached to it. So I decided to reinforce that, and for that I need metal. So I think I'm gonna go see the ironworker to see if I can get some metal from him.
por 10, dividido assim.
10 por 10.
Vira aqui.
Isso.
Passa aqui no ganho, um bocado.
Se fizesse, não tá muito grossa, acho.
Eu vou pôr mais mal um bocadinho.
Não, bota pra dentro. Também é bate pra dentro, tá? Vamos arrumar a ferramenta como assim está visto. Oh! Arrumar a ferramenta, embora! Pronto! Não se molhe mais, vamos! Pare! Vai ficar tudo lavado? Está ok.
Hã?
Está seguro?
Está, isso não tem. Não fala nenhum. Deixa eu mostrar para mim. É sério?
Esta é uma pedra. Ficou lá? Como é que chama esta peça?
Agora que eu comprei. Mas chama isto? É uma ombreira, não é?
Não, não.
Ombreira
O João deu outro nome. É um. Como é que ele chamou isso? É outro nome. Ele já nos vai dizer, espera aí. Tranquilo. What an ending to an eventful week. Cold front came in and just dumped a whole lot of water. Sent the guys home early. Got wet pretty fast. Pretty spectacular view of the valley now that's cleared up a little bit. Anyway, the wall's coming along really good. I feel like we have a third of the wall already built. The first tranqueiro, which is this piece here, that ties the door frame pieces to the wall, was installed this afternoon. These corner pieces take a long time to make. They're called cunhal. Yeah, it's not fast to build a stone wall, but it's very rewarding. Beautiful thing. Yeah, I can never get tired of this view. The most remote village in my municipality here is up on the mountain over there, just below those wind generators. It's called Gondling, and I think they spend a lot of time in the fog up there. It's about an hour and a half or so round trip to town and back. And another important thing happened here this week, which is the first time that an animal is born here in maybe 50 years. Our little bantam has hatched their eggs. I don't know how many chicks she has. I've seen them. Some bare-naked ones. They're so cute. She'll probably come off the nest tomorrow. She started hatching those eggs yesterday. So we'll see. Hopefully the ramp that I built works and there's no accidents on the way out of the nest. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Fun to see those little guys being taken care of by the hen, like it's like in the old days. I remember as a kid, my grandmother would raise chicken that way. She had a little bantam, a garnizé, to hatch eggs because they're really good at that. So it causes no work. In the past, I've had an incubator, of course, and all that system, and it's a lot of work. So I'm going back to the old ways here. So yeah, it's been fun to raise some birds, some good tasting birds. The water cabinet came out really good. Just have to finish the door now and a few other details. But yeah, I'm very happy with it. And the water cabinet came out very nice. I'm very happy. It's a great way to finish the raised bed and also to enclose all the mechanical bits that kind of have to be outside of the building. Most of them have to. Aniceto did a fabulous job. The top of it here is a planter. It's going to take about that much soil, and we're going to have something ornamental that most likely will drape down the side over the wall, just on the end here, really. Yeah, now I'm just finishing the door and tidying up the bottom where the water lines go into it, and then just the base of the sink and a few bits, but pretty nice. Now that I have the plate, I can finish the drain, create a good seal, and I'm also installing a stainless steel rod bent in that sort of shape. It's going to be inserted into the stones at every joint around the perimeter, just as an extra measure of safety. I don't think that these stones would push out with the water weight inside, because half of the stone is in the ground, but why not? Just to finish the job real nice and to be 100% sure that nothing's gonna happen. Yeah, so next week I should see this guy filled and operating. It's gonna get warm and sunny, so we'll need a lot of irrigation. So next week I'm also planning to continue to work on the outhouse. See how far I get with that. And before I fill it, I'm also building a bench to sit inside. I have some leftover stone that was from the base, and I'm thinking to turn two of them into a bench, just so that you can get in and sit and relax in the water. And at some point I'll be building a water feature to bring the water in to the tank. I have some ideas. I'm just still designing it. I'm not really sure how I'm gonna go about it, but it's probably gonna be stone and metal, most likely. The water line will come along here and then probably go through stone, and then from a certain height drop the water into the tank. Almost like a shower kind of, but not really. I really love that sound of water falling on water. It's very soothing. Yeah, lots of exciting stuff for next week. All right, let's eat. Pastéis de bacalhau com molho al óleo. Oh, saúde.
Saúde.
E ânimo. Is a mellow. Now singing a nice tune right now. He's upset that he can't get to the strawberries. Help yourself. Second. Double dipping. That's good.
I think there I left a English. No.
English? Which English? Spinach.
Spinach.
Always be careful when eating. Like this. Don't just swallow it, chew it.